Adrian Peterson to the Seahawks? Have you given up on the Hawks? We're going to get into that right here. The Dive In with Dovin. What's up, everybody? This is Northcap coming at you. Hump Day Wednesday here as we talk about the current state of the Seahawks. Whew. Man, it is getting ugly out there. But we got to keep talking about it because the season's still far from over, even though it feels like it's over. But that's why we do this every week with my special guest, Daniel Dovin. As we called it, the Dive In with Dovin, because we dive in deep to see our takes on what's going on with the Seahawks, the latest news, and, of course, the previous game and the upcoming game, which, of course, is the San Francisco 49ers coming to town red hot right now, while the ice-cold Seattle Seahawks continue to limp through this season. Let's bring him in right now. Daniel Dovin of Dovin Group at Marketplace Sotheby's. Nice to have you back, man. How you doing?
Thank you. It's good to be back. Doing pretty well, despite all the things. I can't help but keep consuming Seahawks content. You know, I listen to all the press conferences. I listen to the national heads, and it's been a tough season, but I'm going to try not to let it ruin my week. Unfortunately, I've been used to it over the last several games. So, but overall, I'm doing good, man. Personally and professionally doing well. So good. Happy to be here, man.
All right. And I will, of course, at the end of the show, get your real estate tip of the week, which we always do. So looking forward to hearing what the tip is. It has been tough. And you think about it, the last time Russell Wilson had a win was against these very 49ers way back in like early October. That's how long it's been since Russell Wilson has had a win. Strange days for sure. But we had some breaking news earlier. I did a quick video on it, and I want to get your reaction. Adrian Peterson signed to the Seahawks today, to the practice squad, with, I assume, the intent to bring him into the game on Sunday. I didn't see this one coming. What was your reaction, Adrian Peterson to the Seattle Seahawks?
Yeah, my initial reaction was I thought that was cool. I was like, I've always thought Adrian Peterson's been an amazing back. I think he's been one of the most, thoroughbred runners and just a real, for lack of better terms, workhorse. I mean, that guy's been very durable his whole career, Hall of Famer. When I was thinking about football logistically, though, I honestly can't imagine him contributing super, amounts of yards on the ground or getting a lot of catches in the backfield. I think he'll come in as our probably number 2 back behind Alex Collins, but I'm really not anticipating a heavy workload for him, and I'm not expecting him to get that much playing time, to be honest. My other thought was, man, it's going to be really cool to see him in a Seahawks uniform, though. I think that's always kind of neat. It reminds me of there's a defensive player that we signed. I can't remember who it was, but it's like this guy's a Hall of Famer. He was like a Colt for a long time, and we just had him for a very short amount of time at the end of the year. And I was like, that's kind of a Seattle Mariners thing to do, to kind of sign someone at the end of their career. And we're doing that again now on the offensive side. So if anyone can think of that guy, put in the chat. But I think he was a kind of a defensive end linebacker from the Colts. He played there for a really long time and then came over here. That's what it feels like to me. And it feels a little bit also like when we brought Marshawn back, where it's like more for the mentality than it was for, actual play on the field, and also a little bit for getting people back in the stands, to be honest with you. I think it's exciting. Do I think it'll help us win? No. Unfortunately, I think with our O-line, the way that it is, with, where we are in the season, I'm really not anticipating a whole lot of contribution from him, honestly.
Dwight Freeney. Thank you to the chat, of course. Always coming in. There you go. There you go. The chat's always on it. Nate and Nick LeBeau both got the name. There you go. I'm with you there. This might be a PR move to just sort of, hey, guess who's coming to town? And like you said, there's something cool about seeing a legend, future Hall of Famer in your team's uniform, if only for a little bit, like when Jerry Rice was a Seahawk for a flash of a second, or I think Franco Harris was a Seahawk for a spell. You guys probably don't remember that way back in the day. But, there is something, the novelty of it is kind of cool. But yeah, will he actually contribute and do something? he was already past his prime, and then you put him against with this offensive line. It's hard. You almost feel bad for the guy. It's like, oh, he's about to get punished. But he may not get, even that many opportunities to get hit based on, like I said, he may just be a hardly used second, number 2 back. But either way, it'll be interesting to see. Maybe my other take on it was maybe they brought him in just for that veteran presence, something to maybe stabilize. So right now, you got to imagine the locker room right now in Seattle is a mess. That there's a lot of unhappy guys. I think there's still that sort of disconnect between Russell Wilson and at least the rest of the offense, because we all know what happened with him and the offensive line, him kind of calling them out, or at least perceived that he called them out. And I don't know, maybe there's just been some tension in there that maybe they're hoping that he can come in here and maybe help bring a little bit of good cheer and some galvanizing aspect if he can do that as an outsider. But there's something about when you bring a guy he walks in a room and you go, whoa, that's Adrian Peterson. There's something that maybe at least takes your mind a little bit off the fact that you've been sucking so bad and have no answers for what's been going on. So there could be a little bit of that, but it'll be intriguing to see what they do.
I totally agree with you. I mean, when there's not a lot to play for, at least you can learn from a Hall of Famer. We have a lot of young running backs. Travis Homer's chilling there. Penny's chilling. DJ Dallas is chilling. Carson's probably hyped to meet AP. I mean, heck, I think that the defense, I think it makes everybody that much more interested in the locker room. I definitely agree with that. And then me as a fan, it gets me something to think about as well. I still can't imagine him in our Seahawks uniforms, but I think it also is a nice warm body in the running back room. We need bodies. We're dropping like flies. It's been a rough couple of years, with the running backs, and it just goes to show it's really hard to get a true number 1 like Marshawn, Marshawn to me is a borderline Hall of Fame.
Yeah, it's hard. Yeah, Seattle really has not had any luck with running backs ever since Lynch stepped down, at least guys who can stay healthy. It's just been a perennial, oh, this guy looks pretty good. Oh, injured. Thomas Rawls. We had
Rawls.
remember he was good for a while. Then he broke sprained his ankle, and he was never the same after that. Kristen Michael. Chris Carson seemed to be the guy, and then he couldn't stay healthy, and it's just Rashad Penny. It's just been this rotating door of guys who were just CJ Prosise, just bad luck. And so they're still looking for that, and it's still key in the game, as you see. Just like with the 49ers, with their resurgence the last few games, they've just decided, we are running the ball. We don't care if we have to make a wide receiver turn into a running back. We are going to run the football, and they've been doing it really well. Now, we're lucky that they're not going to be facing Deebo Samuel, or I think Fred Warner is going to be out as well. But I've learned to stop buying into these stars are out, so we've got a good chance, because we've lost 2 games in a row with starting quarterbacks and wide receivers out, and 2 of the best pass rushers in the NFC out, and we still got our butts kicked. So I'm not buying in any of that stuff being any kind of an advantage. But let's back up a little bit. I think we've talked enough about the Adrian Peterson situation. We'll just kind of keep an eye on that and see what kind of how interesting that stays. But quick reflect on the game that we just watched, the Washington football team game. A lot more of the same, but you got to give them credit. It was interesting at the end. That's for dang sure. What did you think about the game, man?
Man, it was so painful in the middle. I honestly, this was the first game of my life where from start to finish, I was telling myself, don't get my hopes up. And I was bummed to think that way, because I'm generally a very optimistic person. I'm very much a Pete Carroll supporter. I'm very much a Seattle Seahawks fan. But I've learned to protect my heart this year, like Proverbs says in the Bible, above all else, protect your heart, guard your heart. Right. And that's what it's been. It's been heartbreaking, over the years for Mariners fans. So people are always like, same old Mariners. Well, this year we have to be like, hey, chill out on the expectations with these Seahawks, because it just hasn't been our year. Even that onside kick was the epitome of the whole season. Right. It's like the same thing coming with. Yeah, it's just we were this close, and that's how it's been all season. And then if you do this close a million different ways, it ends up adding up incrementally and then exponentially into a really big problem. And now you're 3-8 all of a sudden. You're like, how did we get here? You know what I mean? It's like, it's not like we're that terrible in one place. It's just, we've been off on every place a little bit here and there. We haven't really put together, more than one in a row of a like pretty good game. I would even argue that the Jaguars game, like that to me was like a D1 game. Like that didn't look like NFL football. I went to that game in person. I was like, these guys are just running around like it's like college ball in the springtime, but the rest of the games, what I would say, Norm, on a positive note, is I love that our defense, we decided to come out and hit, like run and hit, just hit them really hard. If we're going to lose, like make them hurt, completely legally, shoulder tackle. I love the Diggs hit. I love that Bobby Wagner got a little tip. I love Jamal getting a second pick in 3 games. I love seeing Jordan Brooks is getting better. Yep, he's not perfect yet, but he's getting better. We're playing the young guys. Rasheem Green, he's playing for the next contract. He's doing well, And so there's some bright spots there, but offensively, it is a fireable offense to not give DK the ball. Like we can put him in the slot. I've seen it happen this year. I've seen it happen last year. But for some reason, this game seemed to be like, go on the outside and run a straight line for the most part. And their excuse is whenever we call the play for DK, he was in double coverage. Well, you don't hear about number one receivers, their teams usually making excuses like this. They find a way. And yeah, sometimes it's forced. But the best wideouts like Julio Jones, he'll catch with 2 or 3 guys hanging on him. And so if DK really wants to be the best, he's got to be the best, and you gotta do hard stuff. Nobody said it was going to be easy. So my big takeaways was that it was a heartbreaking loss. I liked the fight at the end. I liked our defense playing with heart and with effort. And I'm pretty disappointed in our offense all the way around. Maybe one bright spot would be Gerald Everett. I think that guy, this is like one example of that guy's playing for the next contract too. He got a 1-year, $7 million deal. He's like, whether I'm here or somewhere else, I'm going to put some like awesome film on. And that guy plays really hard. I've been very impressed with him this year, even though he hasn't had that many chances. But when he gets the ball, he's physical. So I like to see that.
Took the words right out of my mouth. All those things you said are the positive. I would add to that too that the Seattle defense got like 3 and outs in a row, and they stopped them on like 3rd and 1s, 3rd and 2s. I mean, they could have easily given up and just been steamrolled, and they fought and tried to give their offense a chance and stayed, again, to be within a 1 touchdown the entire game after being just annihilated statistically. They were definitely bending as far as Gumby would let you bend it before breaking, and unfortunately we just didn't make the one play at the end. So definitely the defense was rising to the occasion. But I think we also got to give credit to the MVP. You didn't mention the MVP of the Seattle Seahawks, and you know who that is, right? Michael Dixon, man. Michael Dixon was killing it. I mean, this guy is working overtime.
He had like 1 mediocre kick, and the rest were awesome.
I mean, but the kick that I really loved, there was one kick where he was aiming towards the right, and the returner was ready to go that direction, and the ball goes twink, and I was like, oh crap, he shanked it. But no, he actually intentionally kicked a line drive kick, a no-look kick to the opposite side where the returner wasn't even close, and he downed it. They downed it like, I don't know, within the 15-yard line or something. And that was brilliant. I thought it was a mess up, and it was actually a no-look kick on purpose that he had been working on. And that's just awesome because it completely fooled me. But it was a great thing. And he's been having to, rise to the occasion so many times. That guy's working double overtime and doing a great job. So special teams.
Can I interrupt for a second?
Yeah.
Can I just say, Jesse in the chat just bet $20 that we don't win another game this year. I'll take him up on that. $20.
Jesse. Okay.
You're on, Jesse.
All right. Well,
Jesse, no religion, no.
Okay.
You're on.
There you go. On the record.
I will bet you we will win at least one more game this year.
Okay, so I don't know how we enforce this.
Come back, Jesse.
Yeah, Jesse can't run. Can't run behind your keyboard, not show up again. But Jesse, so he's going to take your challenge, as he says in the chat right there. You can see it right there. I'm betting we don't win another game this year, $20 on it. Okay, Daniel is going to take your bet, and so it's on between you guys. Someone's going to win, someone's going to lose. What if it's a tie? Oh, that would be that wouldn't be a win.
I don't think any.
A tie's not a win.
If we don't get a win, then I'll give him $20.
That's true. A tie, so he gets a tie as well. So that would be wouldn't that be just like the perfect anticlimactic finish to finish with a tie?
Yeah, I'm gonna PayPal him now just ahead of time, just in case, because it's been one of those seasons.
All right, you better come back, Jesse. You'll have to Venmo me, LOL. All right, well, we'll work it out, but don't go away.
I got Venmo, got spare cash.
Hey, if we can't play for the playoffs, we got to play for something. Might as well $20 bet. So anyway, Michael Dixon, great job, and then Jason Myers has been kicking better. He had his slump there, but he got out of it, and he's been better. And then of course the onside kick. When I was pretty much thinking, there's no way we have a chance of getting it. Not only did we get the one, we almost got the second one in the exact same fashion. I mean, he made that kick like a duplicate clone of the first one, which is so hard to do. But I'm glad to see, because I don't know if we talked about it, but I talked about why don't they practice onside kicks? Because whenever they happen, it looks like the team has no idea what to do. They have no plan. It's like not even close. Right. This is the first time I saw Seattle actually do an onside kick, and it not only did they get it, penalty aside, but they did it twice and almost got it both times. It's like they've been working on it. And so credit to the special teams folks for actually working on that and getting it. It's too bad that the special teams captain, Nick Ballore, lined up on this side of the hash marks instead of this side of the hash marks. Otherwise, we could have won that fluky game by some weird field goal. And can you imagine what the press would have done with that had we had actually pulled out a win in that game? It would have been hilarious to have seen. Not that it would have changed our season, but who knows? That could have been the spark that would have started the greatest comeback ever. But unfortunately, Nick Ballore was on this side. But anyway, it was fun to see. So got to give credit to the few positive things that we have, and the special teams did a great job. Yeah. So, but yeah, unfortunately, the biggest problems remain, and it's the same things. I'm going to say it again for this 49er game. I'm going to keep repeating my keys to the game because I have no other keys to this game except the same ones that are the same ones everybody's been seeing, the same ones I've been sticking to. That unless they finally hit one of those, at least 2 or 3 of those keys, we're going to keep losing the games, and you're going to lose your money, Daniel. But I want to hear yours. So let's talk about do you have something different? I found myself in prepping for the show. I kept thinking, what am I going to talk about? What do we say what we haven't already said when it's so obvious what has to happen? But I don't know. Did you come up with something good for what's going to take to beat the 49ers on Sunday?
Yeah, I'm not even going to talk about what it's going to take to beat them. I just have my keys to the game that I just like to see in general as a fan. At this point, I don't really care if we lose this game. Out of the games left, for Jesse, this is not the game I think we're going to win. But my key is I would like us to get in reasonable striking distance of the time of possession. Like, this has been a problem all season. It's like, can we get I don't even want 50% of third down, because that's a good offensive team.
That's way too good.
I want to get to like 40%. I want like 40%. We've been at like 30, right? So that's number one. Let's just get striking distance. That will help. And then as far as the actual time possession, I need like 40%, right? Good teams are like 50 to 60% of the time possession. I just want not terrible, because lately it's been terrible. I think it was 41, 42 to like 18 or something.
It was more than double.
Ridiculous.
Well, more than double. Yeah.
Yeah.
You stole my key. I think you stole my key because I've been saying that key all of like the past month. But I'm with you. Time of possession. Gotta be closer to something realistic and not this completely getting blown out. So I'm with you. Lockstep on that one.
The third key is, I think, I think that I need to see the offense play physically, and that's really hard to quantify, but you'll see it, you'll know it when you see it, kind of thing. Like with the defense, very physical. The offensive line, I can't think of a time since probably 2017 where I felt like our offensive line was kind of mean. Like, they look soft out there. And that's just not the type of vibe you want to put that out there on offense. It means nothing if DK is physical and let's say Disley's a little physical and Gerald Everett's really physical if our offensive line is not, right? None of it really matters. It starts up front. So those are my keys to the game. I think it goes with third down, 40%, time possession, like 40%. And I need our offensive line to look like they want to hurt someone. Otherwise, I don't know what we're doing out there. You might as well play Stone Forsythe and Jack Curhan at that point and rest Dwayne Brown and Brandon Shell so that at least you can see what you have in the future. Maybe at least you can start interpreting, because offensively we have not been developing offensive players. If you really think about it, who's the last homegrown talent where you're like, wow, you know who it was? Tyler Lockett.
Yep.
And DK Metcalf, but DK's been inconsistent this year. He's been, you know what? I think it's since he got the visor, he thinks he looks cool, and then he's got the hair. He does look cool. He's got a sweet car and stuff. But you know what looks even cooler? 12 catches for 122 yards and 2 touchdowns.
Yep.
That sounds cool to me. Anyway.
Yeah.
Cart before the horse kind of thing. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah. All right. Well, my keys to the game, I guess I'm going to focus on these 3 things. I'm going to go with that time of possession thing. And I think time of possession translates into third down conversions, because you can't get time of possession if you're not converting third down. So unless you're just getting all on first and second down, that's hard to do, especially with this offense. So if we are in that same range, I'm going to steal that completely because we've been sort of borrowing each other's keys. So I'm going to go with that one. If we can be in that 40%, of the time possession, like 60-40, I think we have a good shot, because that would be so much better. That'll be double than what we were already doing. So if we're close, like 60-40, we're going to be, in terms of time of possession, that's going to be a good thing for Seattle. And then the other 2 are really easy to track. We just got to win. We just got to be on the positive side of sacks and turnovers. That's it. We've got to be one better than the 49ers. And then that third one. If we do all 3 of those things, so that means we have to have, if they get 1 sack or 0 sacks, we need to get 1. If they get 0 or 1 turnover, we need to get 1 or 2. We just got to be 1 ahead in each of those columns. I'll take 2 out of 3. I think if we take 2 out of 3, well, actually, no. We could still get turnovers and sacks and still lose the game because our offense would maybe mess up. We need to have at least the time possession one's got to be there, and I'll take 1 or the other. And I think if we get 1 of those other ones with the time of possession, we'll win the game. It's that simple. Everything will come together if we get the time of possession going. I'm convinced that once we get that time of possession thing fixed, which means other things are rolling, this offense will look like it did before. I guarantee it.
So I got a question for you, Norm. I'm going to put you on the spot here.
Don't like.
So what percentage chance do you think Pete Carroll comes back next year? Just him by himself, regardless of other things that are going on. What are the odds that Pete Carroll returns next year? If you could put a percentage,
I would say, now this is not necessarily what I want, but this is what I think is going to happen. I think there's a better chance Pete Carroll comes back next year, better than 50% chance that he comes back. There's a higher percentage that Pete Carroll comes back than Russell Wilson coming back. That's what I think. Because I think, because Pete Carroll answers only to Jody Allen. So unless Jody Allen cracks the whip and says, I'm going to fire you out of your just renewed contract, that's the only way he's leaving. Russell Wilson, I think there's a higher chance of him leaving is because he may just not want to stay. If he wants out, he will find a way out, but I don't know where he's at. And it reminds me of Pete Carroll. It's like a husband and wife. It's a married couple, and right now they got to go through counseling. But that only works if both parties want to make it work. If one wants out, they're getting out, no matter what they might have on them. They're going to find a way out. But if they really want to work it out, I think there's a solution to be found. We've seen worse situations happen where 2 parties that look like it was just a disaster together can't work it out. It's just a question, do they want to? I think Pete Carroll's here to stay and finish, and he would like to have Russ because I don't think he wants to rebuild and start. So I don't think they want to trade Russ. I just don't know where Russ's head is at. But obviously, if you look at last year, it feels like he's hinting that he wants to go.
When you say finish, obviously the season for Pete Carroll, but do you mean finish his extension of like 4 more years or something?
Play out his contract. Yeah. Why would he want to leave early? I think he likes coaching.
Especially when it's like, yes.
And would you want to finish on this note?
Especially when he's making like 11 more than a year. I'm sorry, there's a lag. I don't mean to cut you off.
Oh yeah, I know. I noticed that. But would you want to? Would he wouldn't want to finish and have his legacy be this season? I'd want to come back and go, we could turn this thing around. I want to end on a better note than this terrible season. So I think he wants to stay, and I don't think there's a lot of things pushing him out to not stay. But there's a lot more control by Russell Wilson to leave. I don't hope that, but I think that's more likely Russ leaving than Pete Carroll, even though I kind of want the opposite. That's just my take. Yeah. On reality, I would actually not be disappointed, believe it or not, as much as I'm going against everybody's mindsets out there. I would actually like to see them stay and work it out. And then a lot of people are going like, what, are you crazy? Fire in, we got to clean house, rebuild, blah, blah, blah. I guess I just have this belief that there's a solution out there, and they just struggled to find it this year. But I'm just also not of that feeling like one bad year, blow the whole thing up. I mean, we've seen teams who've had to deal with much worse stretches, and they didn't necessarily blow the entire thing up, and they found their ground later. So anyway, that's just my take.
Drew Brees, for example.
Yeah. It's hard to have this kind of sustained success, but I think for us it's just so unusual that it feels like it's the end of the world. So, end of the world, it's terrible. Blow the whole thing up. It's just unacceptable. So, anyway, do you have a score prediction? You said we're going to lose. And I predicted a loss even before the season started, too.
Well, the Niners have been playing well lately. They've actually been playing a lot better than the Rams. I think the Cardinals have been holding serve, but Niners have been running the ball really well. They've been getting good play out of Jimmy G. Their defense has been solid. Bosa's back. George Kittle coming back was really, I think, the catalyst for them kind of getting back to their identity. Deebo's not playing, so that hurts, but I think Kittle being gone is the biggest thing. Him coming back has been huge for them. So I think they can put up points. I think that they're going to kind of hold serve of what they've been scoring at. So like probably 24-21 in another very heartbreaking home loss this year. I think the Seahawks force the ball to DK. He's going to have like 14 to 18 targets, put up 100 yards, at least one touchdown. But again, I don't see a way that we can get the running game going. That's the biggest thing for me. I can't envision a scenario with the squad we have right now to run the ball effectively against the Niners. And so everyone's game plan is going to be make us one-dimensional, make us throw the ball, and test our offensive line, double DK and Tyler back and forth, and then see what happens, And so I'm going to say 24-21, 49ers.
All right. Well, I'm going to go with my music video prediction that I made back in early September. Before I knew we were going to stink this year, I already predicted a loss in this game, and I'm going to stick with that. Somehow we're going to find a way to score 24 points. I'm not sure how that's going to happen, but some fluky stuff will happen. We'll score 24, but the 49ers will score 30, and we'll lose by a touchdown in this game. So I'm going to stick with that prediction that we have. But hopefully, how many times have we said, I hope we're wrong? They've been proving us right much more often this year.
Every episode I've been on this year.
Yeah, practically. I know. It's weird, man. It's weird to think how long it's been. Like I said, the last time Wilson got a win was against this very team that we played back in early October. It's crazy, man. All right. You guys can go ahead and put your score predictions in the chat. We'll see who gets closest. And of course, we will have to monitor this bet that we got going on here to see if the rest of the season, if we get a win or not. If we get a win, Daniel's going to get to collect some money. If not, then Jesse's going to get something.
I don't know if it's legal, so it might have to be like 10 spam Subies instead. But if it is legal, then by all means, Venmo me.
All right, I'm not sure who the legal bet police are here, but we'll look into it, into the matter, and see. All right, let's. We got to finish with since you are my sponsor here, Daniel Dovin of the Dovin Group at Marketplace Sotheby's, which is if you're in the real estate business or you're in the market to buy or sell a home, give Daniel a call because he'll hook you up. So, tell me before you go to your tip of the week. You'd mentioned before that there was a Seahawks fan that you connected with, and sounds like how's that going?
Yeah, it's going great. Great. Without naming any names, for the privacy, I named them in the last episode. Yeah, we connected with some amazing Seahawks fans over in Kelso, and they're huge NorbCam supporters. They might be watching right now. And I had a chance to come over. They're kind enough to have me over for dinner. And we talked Seahawks, we talked music, which is, both things that you love as well, Norb. And we even talked about making music videos. And so it's like there's a lot of synergy there. And it was great to, just bond and rapport, and we became friends, and helping them prepare their property for sale, actually 2 lots together. Very exciting that we're going to get prepared for the springtime. So it just goes to show, relationships matter first, and then I think after that, logistics and like execution of the plan. Similarly to football, it's important that the players like each other. It's important that they get along in the off season, spend some time together, get to know each other's families, type of thing. And then they need the right strategy in place, and then they need to have the right people in order to execute the strategy. Because one thing to say, we're going to do great marketing for your property, but if I can't get it in 74 countries like we can with Sotheby's, or we don't have great video marketing, or our photos are a little wonky, or maybe I'm terrible on camera when I'm presenting it, or maybe we don't do open houses, or maybe, whatever it is, we're bad at contracts, whatever that is, you end up being 3-8 and talking about blowing up the whole thing. So what we're trying to do is have a championship listing every Sunday. So, that's my football real estate kind of analogy for you. But yeah, really excited to work with this awesome family. So shout out to them over in Kelso. And yeah, it's been really great. So thanks for connecting us through your channel. I had no idea they were watching us for the last season and a half. So pretty awesome.
Sometimes you just gotta you plant the seeds, and over time, you hope you just kind of keep watering things, and then all of a sudden, it's like something grows out of it. It's pretty cool. So, do you have so out of that story, do you have your tip of the week?
Yeah, I would say it's very important, when you have a beautiful property, to highlight all the unique aspects, right? A good listing agent, when you're looking to hire someone to market your property, you want to make sure you vet them out, because the general perception is, well, the market's so hot, you just throw it online and it will sell itself. Well, the fact of the matter is that this family I'm talking about, they actually did list it with someone else, and it was a team, and they threw it on the market, and it sat on the market for a year. So it's not really about taking photos and putting it online. There's a lot more to it. Wouldn't you rather have, and we talked about this before, a competent person you're working with versus a confident, right? You don't want your eye doctor to be really confident, but they're not competent, right? You want them to be competent and more than anything else, to be able to execute the plan, like I said. So one tip you can do is make sure that your real estate team is running some mega open houses. Open houses are a great way to literally get as many people through the door as you can. And whether it's neighbors or it's, people that are online that want to go without their agent on the weekend or with their agent. And it's just a great opportunity for people to get all in there at the same time and explore the property. You might say, well, what about COVID? Well, the thing is, people don't have to be really close together. You can also limit, how many people are in the house at the same time. But running open houses are really, really important. You also want to vacate the property. If you're the homeowner, you don't want to be around for the open house. You don't want that stress. Trust me. Ideally, if you're on market, you don't want to be living there. It's best to vacate and actually have a professional cleaning done, have professional staging if possible, and just allow people to see it so that they can imagine living there. If someone walks in and sees Norb's whole family on the wall, all of us would be like, cool, that's pretty neat. But other people are going to be like, well, this is Norb's house. It's not my house. So it psychologically makes them not want to purchase. So those are just some tips, but I would say treat, real estate like a championship opportunity. What I mean by that is if you're going to invest in property, it should be a slam dunk for you. Let's just say you're an investor. You want to make sure the profit margin's at least, 30% or higher. If it's 29, you got to be able to walk away from that. You want to have surefire plays that work and continue to run the plays that work, if that makes sense. This is not a time to be messing around in real estate. You want to be sure, whether that's thoroughly looking through your home inspection, or that's thoroughly understanding every part of the contract, or that's vetting out your real estate agent on the buyer seller side, or your lender, or your title and escrow team. You want to make sure that your team around you is ready to take on a championship, because this is like hundreds of thousands of dollars that you worked really, really hard for. So that's my main tip of the day. It's just all about championship mindset and good execution of the plan. You want to take this stuff very seriously.
Wow, sounds like a football game plan that we should take into
Let's go.
On Sunday. All right. Alina Dahl, our fabulous moderator, says in the chat, Daniel, I agree. I had to fire my first real estate person and was lucky the second person was awesome, taking the extra steps. Found me a great home. There you go. It's all about the details. All right. I think that's really the key in life. Is it really is about the details. You got to pay attention to whether it's sports, whether it's buying or selling something, or your work. It is about, you do have to sweat the details. And for me, like video production, when I make movies and films and stuff like that, I mean, I sweat so many little details, from the sounds, the level of the music, every single edit, one frame, 3 frames this way or that way could change the entire perception. So many things are about the details, but you got to pay attention to them. Otherwise, the details add up. And all of a sudden, it's like, oh, we got a mess on our hands because I didn't pay attention to the details up to this point. So, good tips, man. Appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
All right. Well, guys, I had some people asking me about my Madden sim this week. I haven't had a chance to do it because we had Monday Night Football. And then this week is club volleyball week for my girls. And high school volleyball is over. But then as soon as that's over, they transition to the club volleyball, which is actually the bigger season because it goes till June, sometimes July if they're playing well. So this is going to be another 6-7 months of decision making. So they're going through tryouts right now, and by the end of the week, we'll know what club, what team they're going to be with. But
did your daughters go to state this year in volleyball?
No, they didn't. Unfortunately, Sophie, my oldest, she sprained her ankle at practice the day before playoffs.
Oh, no.
And she's one of their primary hitters, and without her in there, it certainly didn't help the team. So we got pretty much one and done. Didn't win a game. It was a bad day. So we had an early exit, unfortunately. So yeah, didn't get to state. We would have loved to have gotten in the dance, but just wasn't in the cards this week. Or this year. So hopefully next year. But like I said, club volleyball tournament, so keep your fingers crossed that things work out for my girls. A lot of decisions to make, and their last tryout is tonight. So we have a few choices to make after the final one tonight. So I'll be doing my Madden simulation most likely tomorrow. And then we have the Madden, the Norbcore Discord Madden tournament. Finally, we do have a winner. It is Kivu, and I'll be playing him. I believe we're aiming to try to do this on Saturday. It's going to be an aired event live on YouTube when I will play the champion, Kivu, who will probably destroy me in Madden live for you guys to watch. So we're aiming for Saturday, but I'll have an official time very soon this week. So, all right, that's it. So we'll see what happens. Adrian Peterson to the Seahawks. 49ers coming to town, not on prime time. Expecting a loss, but maybe because we're expecting all these negative things, it'll surprise the heck out of us with somehow some kind of a miracle. But technically, the Seahawks, I think, are like 1% chance of making the playoffs. So you're saying there's a chance.
All those tiebreakers.
1% is better than 0. But anyway, I'll just take for some, time of possession improvement, and I'll be happy. All right, that's it. Thanks to my special guests, of course, Daniel Dovin of Dovin Group at Marketplace Sotheby's, my sponsor and partner in all this for the Dive In with Dovin. We'll do this again next week until the season is over. But thanks for watching, guys. Please subscribe. Go check him out if you have any questions or you just want to talk real estate. As you can tell, it's a very fun guy to talk to, so can't go wrong. Until next time, have a great rest of your evening and go Hawks.
Go
baby.
Hawks.
Woo!